everyone. My name is Amani Green. I am a Reading Room Program Coordinator at Carson Scholars Fund, specifically for the Ben Carson Reading Room Project. And I'm here today with Jonathan C. Harris. We're going to be asking him a couple questions today about his experience being a children's book author. So let's get right into it. Can you tell me just a little bit about your background and education before becoming an author?
Sure. So again, everybody, hello. I am Jonathan Harris. I born and raised in Prince George's County, Maryland, so really close to DC and Northern Virginia. Since the early age, education has always been really important to me because I feel like you are a lifelong learner. I don't care what level you are in. So I was fortunate enough to graduate my high school as my high school valedictorian. From there, went on to study statistics. So I am a math guy by trade at the University of Delaware, where again, just able to expand my learning some more. And even now as an author, math has been really essential in terms of just knowing how to properly budget things, reinvest, and all of that.
Perfect. So we had time to look over your children's books that you wrote. So what inspired you to write Growing with Gents and Girls with Pearls?
So, Growing Gents and Girls with Pearls are actually my second and third book. I had written a first book back in 2016 called Master of Ceremonies, which was for teenage males. Funny enough, I came across a lot of parents who said, I have younger kids and I would love more materials for, the babies, the toddlers, that age range. So the concept actually stemmed from my first book, which again was a self-help book. So I figured, I don't see a lot of self-help books for kids. And I wanted to do something different. A lot of times when you look at children's books, it kind of follows the story time narrative of, once upon a time, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I wanted some practical things that parents, that teachers, educational administrators, and those that work with kids could help. So my books focus on things like manners, sharing, kindness, even bigger concepts, financial literacy. So talks to kids about saving money, recycling, coming to things on time, if not early. So wanted to help children, but help them in a different way.
Yeah, I definitely think that's useful for the, world of literacy. So we were kind of wondering, can you describe your experience reading your books to children?
It is my favorite thing of all of the different entities I've been involved with. I love anytime I get to read my books to kids. What I appreciate about it the most, I appreciate two things. Number one, I appreciate how excited they are. I think that anytime you speak, the energy of the audience is what really gives the speaker that kind of boost to keep going. The students are always so excited, and we have a lot of fun with it too. The thing I love about the children's books is you can teach from any standpoint. I can ask them to identify certain words, certain animals, certain colors, shapes, or even fun things. So my books are animal based. All the characters are based on animals. So there's a page where we talk about bumblebees, and the bumblebee is a leader, and we talk about the importance of leadership. But then I'll ask them, hey, what sound does a bee make? And all the kids are like, Bzz, and it's so much fun. So I really enjoyed that. The second piece, and this is really important to me too, as a Black man, teaching them that people that look like them can write books. Whether you are a person of color or you're not, even just introducing what an author is, what an author does. A lot of times they've never heard of the term illustrator before. So it's cool to be able to introduce new concepts to them and let them know that when they grow up, you can be a person who loves to read. You can also be a person who loves to write and go on to make your own books.
Yeah, that's definitely wonderful. I mean, that was perfect fitting for what we do here at the Carson Scholars Fund. So it's exciting to learn about. So another thing I was just wondering, do you think that there is a correlation between reading literacy and a successful mindset?
Absolutely. I think that a person who reads is always going to have an advantage because, from the technical side, of course, you're building your vocabulary, but also from the human relations side, you're getting a chance to learn about people. You're getting a chance to learn about culture, customs, different identities, different ideas. What are some current problems in the world based on what you're reading? What are some potential and proposed solutions? So I think that a person who reads a lot is always going to do really well in their life because they'll be able to contribute in a better way. Outside of that, too, reading is such a great thing for your mental health. You know, in the world that we live in, we cannot ignore the mental health situation in front of us. Reading is a great way to relax. It's a great way to take in information in a low impact way. They even say that there's a correlation between better sleep regulation with those who read a lot. So if you're a person who maybe is struggling to get some rest at night, maybe read a nice book before you go lay down.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, to me, freedom is the key to freedom. So it's exciting to hear,
Yes.
someone who is actually in the field say that, definitely. So just a fun question for you. What's your favorite book and why?
Oh, I love this one. So I would say there's this book I read a couple years ago, at this point, maybe like 6 years ago. It's about small businesses by author named Michael Gerber. It's called The E-Myth: Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work. And I think there's a lot of things you can take away from that book. The biggest thing they really talked about was just the importance of consistency. I think that's a life skill you can universally apply. So, really quick, they told the story about a person who went in to get their hair cut. And they said the first time they went in, they offered them some tea, a newspaper, and to wash their hair. So again, tea, newspaper, wash their hair. The second time they went in, they offered them tea and newspaper, but didn't wash their hair. The next time they went in, they washed their hair, but didn't give them any tea nor the newspaper. And they kept going through the different examples of how every time the person went, the experience was slightly different to the point where like the customer stopped going because they said, I didn't know what to expect. And that was just as an author, that was a learning curve I had early on, is that you're also a business owner too when you release a book. So it really talked about the importance of consistency when you show up in the spaces. As an author, I'm reading at these different schools, daycares, different programs. And universally, I want everyone to have a good experience with me. Of course, as a speaker, I have to tailor how I do something based on who I'm talking with, but it shouldn't be that one version of me got a guy who showed up 15 minutes late, someone else got a version of me that was all over the place, and then one got a version of me that was very kind of not non-engaging. Those are three different identities. So I try to make sure I show up the same way every time I do something. And that book really drove the point home for me about the importance of consistency in your personality, and especially when you're running a business brand.
Yeah, that's definitely very honorable as well to, carry yourself in that manner. So I'll have to check it out. I like new book recommendations. So just, I guess my final question for you today would be, are you currently writing or planning any new books or works?
I am. So book four, oh goodness. It's funny because I didn't even, at one point, there wasn't really even a plan to do book one. So the next time you and I hop on, I'll definitely give you the extended as to how I became an author in the first place. But I say all that to say book four is going to be the journey of how I have been able to lose and keep off 100 pounds. So